Devil May Cry is on the rise again. With the upcoming release of the highly anticipated Devil May Cry 5 next week, I thought it would be good to go back through the series and compile all of the events in chronological order. Now you may be thinking, why is this a thing? It's just the games. Pretty simple. 3, 1, 4, 2. Well no, for starters, they changed the order to 3, 1, 2, 4 like a week ago. Second, Devil May Cry 5 is like a love letter to the series and its fans, and it's incorporating all sorts of elements from the extended media of the franchise. So we have to cover just about every novel, the anime, and the manga to establish the framework that Devil May Cry 5 is working under. And I hear you again, it's still pretty simple though, right? Yeah, well, Devil May Cry 5 isn't incorporating everything in a straightforward way. There's a character named Morrison in the anime who will be appearing in Devil May Cry 5. In the anime, he's presented like this. And in the game, he is presented like this. Do you see the problem now? It's not that they changed his race. That's perfectly fine. Representation is a wonderful thing. It's that it contradicts the series' chronology. That's the problem with most of the extended media, actually. They all directly contradict the games and each other in one way or another. But Devil May Cry 5 is still treating them, or at least ideas from them, as canon. So we'll have to go through everything to decode what is and isn't important, and hopefully have all the knowledge we need to decipher everything in that fancy new game. So, here we go, on a journey to decipher the Devil May Cry timeline.
Let's rock, baby.
Let's take it from the top. We'll go in order of release, but first, some backstory. The one provided by the original game is missing some pieces that were filled in by later entries, so I'll use my knowledge of the rest of the games to fill in the holes. 2 millenniums ago, Mundus, the Prince of Darkness, arose in the demon world. He built up an army to lead an assault on the human world. Before his plan came to fruition, though, one demon, the Dark Knight Sparta, had realized the errors of their ways and rose up to fight for the sake of humanity. He defeated Mundus and his entire army, and sealed the main gate to the demon world within the Temen Negru, a large labyrinthian tower connected to the underworld far underground. To accomplish this, he used his own blood along with the blood of a human priestess, his sword, and a mystical amulet. Sparta sealed much of his power and the strength of the sword inside the amulet, causing the blade Sparta to become the Force Edge. And so, Sparta wandered the human world for 2 millennia, at one point sealing a portal in a city called Fortuna with his blade, the Yamato, which could slice through dimensions. Eventually, he met a human woman named Eva. They fell in love and conceived 2 identical twin boys. They were named Dante and Virgil. Sparta passed on his remaining 2 swords, a long sword named Rebellion and the Yamato, to Dante and Virgil respectively, and gave the amulet, the key to the demon world, to his love, who split the amulet in 2 and gave the halves to her sons. Years pass, and Sparta dies. With Sparta gone, Mundus takes this opportunity to seek revenge, and sends his forces to kill Sparta's family. Eva hides Dante from the oncoming assault and is slain, leaving Dante scared, and Virgil nowhere to be found. Eventually, Dante starts up a demon hunting business in order to avenge his mother and his brother. This brings us to the first game, Devil May Cry. Devil May Cry begins with Dante lounging around in his shop, Devil May Cry, waiting for a job. He soon finds one when a crazy lady on a motorcycle comes crashing through his wall. She seems awfully familiar with Dante's past, and electrocutes Dante and impales him with his father's sword. She then throws her motorcycle at him, to which Dante snaps into action.
Sword. Time to go to work, guys.
He elegantly lights up her chopper with his twin pistols, ebony and ivory, sending it flying back. However, this was all a test to confirm Dante's strength, and she reveals that her name is Trish, and she came seeking Dante's help to defeat Mundus. She takes off her sunglasses, and Dante is taken aback when she looks just like his mother. And so, Dante journeys with the mysterious woman to Malay Island, the island which Mundus rules over. Trish vanishes as they arrive. He journeys across the island, defeating Mundus's forces one by one. Only one foe seems to be a match for Dante, a mysterious knight named Nello Angelo, who Dante grows to respect. However, Nello Angelo becomes confused at the sight of Dante's amulet and runs away. In their final battle, Nello Angelo unmasks himself, revealing a face very similar to Dante's. After being defeated, the knight vanishes into the ether, leaving behind only an amulet. An amulet identical to the one Dante has. Nello Angelo was Dante's twin brother Virgil, brainwashed by Mundus to do his bidding. Elsewhere, Mundus, aware of Virgil's defeat, instructs Trish to kill Dante. Dante, now having both halves of the amulet, uses it to unlock the full power of Force Edge, transforming it into the sword Sparta. Dante is attacked by Trish, but when Trish is almost crushed by falling debris, Dante saves her. He then, throws a temper tantrum.
Dante!
Don't come any closer, you devil! You may look like my mother, but you're nowhere close to her. You have no soul. You have the face, but you'll never have her fire!
Dante goes to face Mundus and is nearly killed, but Trish intervenes, taking the lethal blow. Dante follows Mundus into the demon world and defeats him, proving he has surpassed his father in power, and returns to Malay. There, he grieves over Trish. Oh boy!
I should have saved you. I should have been the one to fill your dark soul with light!
He leaves the perfect amulet with her, just as his father left it with Eva.
This was my mother's. Now I'm giving it to you. My father's also here now. Rest in peace.
Mundus, however, survived the battle with Dante and intervenes as he is leaving the island. Dante finds himself powerless, but just in the nick of time, Trish swoops in, lending her power to Dante, allowing him to finish the fight. Mundus is defeated and banished, though he swears his revenge. Trish and Dante embrace, Trish ashamed of what she's done and the demon she is. Dante reassures her, noticing her genuine tears, that devils never cry, and reassures her that it's never too late to start over. The two escape the island on an airplane.
Devil May Cry's a rockin', don't come a knockin', baby, yeah!
Trish joins Dante in the devil hunting business at Devil May Cry, now renamed Devil Never Cry, both of which don't last very long.
We'll be right there. This one has the password. Sounds heavy.
Okay, let's get it over with in 10 minutes. Can't let a single one of those suckers live.
5 minutes.
More than enough.
So this game doesn't really matter, but it's got 2 in the title, so we're stuck with it, and it's canon. I have no idea if anything from it will actually come up in Devil May Cry 5, but we're going all in here, so whatever. Here's the plot of Devil May Cry 2. Dante's in a museum, and he meets a devil hunter named Lucia, and some demons attack and they fight. Lucia then takes Dante to Mary Island and introduces Dante to her mother, Matiere, who claims she helped fight alongside Sparta to defend the island against demons. She asks Dante to fight Arius, a businessman that is plotting to take over the world with demonic power. He plans to release an ancient demon named Argo Sax by gathering items called Arcana. Dante also has this thing where he flips a coin to decide if he's going to take a job, and if it's heads, he'll take it, but both sides are heads, so it's just like unnecessary showmanship and kind of dickish, so I don't really know what's up with it. It never comes up again after this game. It's very weird. He does the coin flip, and what do you know, it's heads, and so he and Lucia go off on their merry way collecting Arcana. Later the duo confront Arius, who, plot twist, reveals that he made Lucia, and that she is just a defective mannequin. Her real name being her ex-Kai? A back and forth with Arius ensues, and eventually Lucia gets captured. Dante trades his Arcana for her, and then Dante shoots Arius dead.
I was going to be the king of this world!
King? Yeah. Here's your crown.
Some existential drama happens with Lucia that gets wrapped up pretty fast. Devils never cry. A portal to the demon world opens up, and Dante goes in and kills Argosax, and Lucia re-kills Arius in the human world. Then Dante goes all the way to hell on a motorcycle. Lucia awaits Dante's return at Devil May Cry, and the sounds of motorcycles blaring echo outside. The game ends. Whoa. Okay, now we're back at the good stuff. Devil May Cry 3 Dante's Awakening is a prequel to the first Devil May Cry and serves as an origin story of sorts. Dante, having just bought the building that will serve as his future business, receives an uninvited guest in the form of a man named Arkham, who extends an invitation from Dante's brother Virgil. Then, the best opening cutscene in all of video games ensues.
He sent this invitation for you. Please, accept it.
Invitation, huh? This party's getting crazy. Let's rock. Don't bet on it.
Apologies for showing the cutscene in whole, but I found it was very much necessary and not at all superfluous. The cutscene establishes that Devil May Cry has changed a bit, and Dante is absolutely bonkers now. It's a very welcome change, and I love and appreciate him. He's an angsty bad boy in this game, but damn if he doesn't partake in some of the most ridiculous tomfoolery I've ever seen. After soundly defeating all of his foes, a huge tower, the Tema Negru, emerges in town. Dante, figuring Virgil was behind this, goes to investigate. Virgil and Arkham have a conversation atop the tower, revealing their plan to take Dante's half of the amulet entrusted to them by their mother in order to open the gateway to the demon world their father had sealed long ago. Upon entering the tower, Dante has to defeat its gatekeeper, Cerberus, to prove himself worthy. Dante slays it, and various other monsters housed in the tower, all placed as guardians by his father. Here we are introduced to a girl who claims she has no name. She is Mary, the daughter of Arkham, who is seeking revenge on her father for murdering her mother, and has abandoned her name for that reason. She immediately tries to kill Dante, to little success. Also necessary? Along his way through the tower, Dante encounters a curious jester who guides him to the tower's top. At the top, he battles with Virgil under the pouring rain, and he loses. Dante is stabbed with his sword Rebellion, and Virgil leaves with Dante's half of the amulet, presuming him dead. However, Dante's demon powers awaken thanks to the power of Rebellion, which also awakens. After some events, Dante runs into Arkham's daughter again, and in the ensuing banter, he coins her Lady. He runs after his brother to find him in the basement of the tower, preparing to open the gateway with the amulets. They fight again. Lady intervenes, and the three are left weary. Seizing his opportunity, Jester reveals himself as Arkham, and uses his daughter's blood along with the amulets to finally break the seal, as Lady and her mother were descendants of the maiden who gave her blood to seal the tower, and only their blood can break the seal. Arkham rises to the top, leaving Dante, Lady, and Virgil to saunter after him. On his way to the top, Dante encounters Lady one last time. She feels it is her duty to stop her father, as it runs in her family.
I told you, you can't do it. Don't you get it? This is not a human's job.
You're the one who doesn't get it.
This whole business started with my father sealing the entrance between the two worlds. And now, my brother's trying to break that spell and turn everything into Demonville. This is my family matter, too. Quite frankly, at first, I didn't give a damn. But because of you, I know what's important now. I know what I need to do.
Wait.
Trust me, I'll make things right for you. That's what my soul is telling me to do.
Use this.
How much is it gonna cost me?
You can give me your name.
Dante.
Dante. Please. Free my father.
I will, lady.
Dante reaches the top and enters the demon world, where he faces off against Arkham, who, after absorbing the power of Sparta, has assumed the form of Dante's father. However, the power is too much, and he mutates into an unrecognizable blob, unable to contain the legendary Dark Knight's power. During the fight, Virgil intervenes, teaming up with Dante to defeat Arkham, who has disgraced the name of their father.
I'll try it your way for once. Remember what we used to say? Jackpot.
Together, they land the finishing blow and send Arkham packing down to Earth, where he is finally finished off by Lady. The Force Edge and amulets fall deeper into the demon world, Dante and Virgil leaping after them. Just as they took different paths after the death of their mother, with Dante abandoning his demon side and seeking to rid the world of demons, and Virgil abandoning his human side, viewing it as weak because he was unable to save his mother, the two brothers find themselves at odds, each with both halves of the amulet. Virgil has the Force Edge, and fights Dante for the other half of the amulet to gain the full power of their father.
You're never gonna be like father.
We're wasting time!
We are the sons of Sparta. Within each of us flows his blood. But more importantly, his soul! And now, my soul is saying it wants to stop you!
Unfortunately, our souls are at odds, brother. I need more power.
And we're supposed to be twins.
Twins. Right.
A fierce battle ensues, with Dante emerging the victor.
No one can have this, Dante. It's mine. It belongs to a son of Sparta. Leave me and go, if you don't want to be trapped in the demon world. I'm staying. This place was our father's home.
Dante, after arriving back on Earth, meets up with Lady at the bottom of the tower, and finally, with his mission done, he cries over the loss of his brother.
Are you crying?
It's only the rain.
The rain already stopped.
Devils never cry.
I see. Maybe somewhere out there, even a devil may cry when he loses a loved one. Don't you think?
Maybe.
What happened next? Nothing, really. We took care of all the remaining devils, and that was it. I still have a job to do that's far from done, which is to eliminate every last demon. I need to ensure that monsters like my father never come about again. And he promised to help me hunt down the demons, even though he's part one himself. But now I realize that there are humans as evil as any devil, as well as kind and compassionate demons in this universe. At least I've found one so-called devil who is able to shed tears for those he cares about. That's enough for me to believe in him.
Now I can start my business.
Oh, speaking of a kind devil, he finally decided on a name for his shop. It took him quite a while to pick one. Want to know the name? Devil May Cry.
In the demon world, Virgil awakes to find himself face to face with Mundus.
It'll be fun to fight with the Prince of Darkness. If my father did it, I should be able to do it too.
Devil May Cry 4 takes place an undisclosed amount of years after Devil May Cry 2. We start the game off with a new protagonist, Nero, who lives in Fortuna and serves in the Order of the Sword, a definitely not cult of knights who worship Sparta as their god, led by the High Priest Sanctus. In the game's intro, Nero goes to church. Nero shyly supports his girlfriend Kyrie as she performs a beautiful serenade, and then Sanctus arrives to give a speech. However, interrupting his speech, Dante comes flying in from the ceiling and shoots the priest up. The onlookers panic, and Nero goes to stop Dante. During the fight, the power in Nero's twisted arm awakens, and Dante escapes unscathed. Nero is sent after Dante by order of the Holy Knight Credo, a sort of brother figure to Nero, an actual brother to Kyrie. But on his journey to recapture the red-clad man, he uncovers various things that reveal the definitely not cult Order of the Sword is definitely a cult. He encounters the Order's head scientist Agnes at an underground laboratory and finds out that the Order has been turning its highest-ranking members, including Agnes, Credo, and Sanctus, into demons using power from Yamato. Agnes decides the boy knows too much and orders him to be killed, but Yamato awakens a power in Nero, and he survives, restoring the broken blade and taking it as his own.
succeed in restoring it!
From that day forth, my heart changed. One second. Power. Give me more. Power.
What?
And if I become a demon, so be it. I'll endure the exile. Anything to protect you.
Nero encounters Credo and defeats him in combat, but the victory is bittersweet as Agnes brings in Kyrie, and she witnessed Nero attacking her brother and becomes very afraid of him. He then escapes with the girl, leaving Nero and Credo to set their differences aside for the sake of Kyrie, and both go after him. They infiltrate the headquarters of the Order, where Nero faces off against Agnes and wins, but before he can defeat him, Sanctus intervenes and takes Kyrie away, realizing in their fight that Nero is of Sparta's blood. Nero runs into Dante one more time, who demands that Nero return Yamato to him as it should remain in his family. During their battle, however, Dante realizes something about Nero reminds him of his brother, but he sees good in the boy and allows him to keep Yamato to save Kyrie. Minor character Gloria is revealed to be Trish, as she infiltrated the Order of the Sword by bringing them the Sword Sparta to find out their plans. The Order orchestrated the demon attacks on Fortuna as a part of an elaborate plot to have complete control over the town's citizens by staging a rescue with a giant golem named the Savior, which would be the false second coming of Sparta. In order to activate the Savior, they need to absorb Dante into it as they need Sparta's blood. You can see where this is going. Nero approaches the Savior to fight Sanctus, but finds that it has absorbed Kyrie. This would prove to be his undoing, as Nero hesitates when Sanctus takes advantage of his love for Kyrie, and he gets absorbed into the Savior as a replacement for Dante, as Nero is also of Sparta's blood. Credo attempts to save Nero, but fails. The Savior is active, and the Order goes about their plan. Agnes uses Yamato, now recovered from Nero, to open the gates sealed by Sparta underneath Fortuna to unleash the denizens of hell. Credo, now dying, asks Dante in his final request to save his loved ones. Dante agrees, and goes back through the entire game because of budgetary restraints. Eventually, he comes face to face with Agnes.
It was my assumption that those demons would prove far inferior in the face of your tactics.
You summon and kill. Summon and kill. I fail to see the logic here. The price to pay for power?
Humans. They are but stubborn and foolish. It takes a journey to hell for them to accept and praise their god. A fact that tickles Irony's judgment.
And your judgments interest me not. For I am here to reclaim what is rightfully mine.
That is what you seek. And that is why I wait in your power!
You will fumble for the position of my quest. Though I encourage for an opportunity to battle a being of such grand delusion as you is a sweet.
absolutely necessary. Dante reclaims Yamato and uses its power to seal the Hellgate below Fortuna and takes on the Savior. He succeeds in weakening it and sends Yamato to Nero.
If the exterior is solid... then you gotta take it out from the inside. Time to wake up, kid! You're missing out on all the fun! Nero! It's up to you from here, kid! An opportunity to save the world doesn't happen every day, you know? Savor it.
This I will savor. Let's clean up this mess.
Nero battles Sanctus for the sake of Kyrie and himself, and defeats Sanctus with the power of love.
Power of Sparta! Why won't you give me strength? Am I not worthy?
Never could take those legends too literally. But I do know that Sparta had a heart. A heart that could love another person. A human. And that is what you lack. This time I will save you. Just hold on.
Don't move or I'll...
Sorry I took so long. Kitty.
After Nero arrives back in Fortuna, he hands Sparta back to Dante and has one last battle with the Savior, where he embraces his demonic origin and realizes that he can use his powers for good.
You know, God, I always hated that you made my arm like this. But now with it, I can destroy this thing. Now I know. This hand was made for sending gods like you back to hell. And now, you die!
Nero and Dante exchange goodbyes, and Dante allows Nero to keep Yamato.
I guess I should thank you.
But that'd be out of character. Maybe you should just throw an insult my way instead.
Yeah, that sounds better. Still, I owe you.
Don't sweat it. I had my reasons for helping. Take care of yourself.
Wait. You forgot this.
Keep it.
What? I thought this meant a lot to you.
That's the only kind of gift worth giving. I want to entrust it to you, so I am. What you do from here is your call.
Hey, Dante. Will we meet again?
Is this the end?
Maybe. Maybe.
The city's a wreck.
Yeah.
I am still alive, right?
Yeah. We both are. KikiKVA. If I'm a demon, and not a human anymore, is this what you want?
Nero, you're you. And it's you I want to be with. I don't know anyone who is as human as you are.
Looks like they're determined to interrupt. Guess that kiss is gonna have to wait.
It's all right. I'll wait.
Thanks.
So, with the games out of the way, let's go through that extended media. We'll go through it in order of release again, and figure out the order of everything later. The Devil May Cry novel starts off with the tale of a man with silver hair, a long red coat, and a large sword, who has a penchant for guns and strawberry sundaes. His name is Tony Redgrave. In the war-torn hellscape of a city that he resides in, he works as a mercenary, taking on various jobs, usually for a middleman named Enzo. Tony has made a name for himself by refusing to kill and being the best there was. He also finds himself taking in the company of a gunsmith named Nell Goldstein, an old woman who he sees as a surrogate mother. She fashions guns for him, which he always breaks, much to her chagrin. One day, along comes a strange, slender man wearing a full green suit covered in bandages, brandishing a katana. His name is Gilver. Reverse those two syllables and see what happens. He quickly rises through the ranks and usurps Tony, but they find themselves working together on jobs all the same, and the two become an unstoppable duo. Gilver does not shy away from bloodshed, and the atmosphere around town starts getting more unsettling. Corpses start coming back to life, possessed by demons from hell, and demon gates pop up all over the town. Opened by Gilver. In the ensuing chaos, Tony loses his best friend Gru to Gilver and has to mercy kill Gru's oldest daughter, Jessica, who has been corrupted and turned into a nexus for the demon world. He uses what's left of his money to set up bank accounts for Gru's remaining, now orphan, daughters. One night, after leaving Nell's shop, the building bursts into flames behind him. He rushes to the shop and crashes in, finding Nell still working, unfazed by the engulfing flames around them. She hands her work over to him, and has him assemble the remaining parts. 2 guns. The left one, black, fashioned for precision shooting. The right one, white, fashioned for rapid fire. Ebony and ivory. Nell collapses. She had been slashed down her back. With her dying breath, she tells Tony of her son, Rock, and tells Tony that he's a good kid, like her son. Tony, with the now lifeless corpse of Nell on his lap, has flashbacks to the night of his mother's death.
Hide that name. Blind yourself to it and run away.
Having lost the last person in the world who he cared about, Tony abandons his pseudonym. He decides that he's done running from his troubles. He retakes the name his mother and father gave him. Dante. Dante does battle with Gilver, who reveals his true form, covered in demon armor. Just when all is lost, and Gilver goes in for the finishing blow. His mother's amulet blocks the lethal strike. Gilver panics upon seeing the amulet, and, in this moment of weakness, Dante unleashes a hail of bullets his way. Gilver's bandages loosen and reveal a man with the exact same face as Dante. An amulet falls from his armor, the exact same as Dante. Before he has a chance to figure out who Gilver is, he vanishes, along with the traces of the demon world around them. Dante pieces things together and realizes that Gilver was in fact his brother Virgil. As he lies bloody and bruised, Enzo comes upon the wreckage and helps him to his feet, taking him away. The novel ends with Dante sitting, presumably several years later, with his boots kicked up on his desk in his newly acquired office, Devil May Cry. It's the first cutscene of the first game. It leads right into the first game. Yeah. That sounded rather gripping, right? Well, it wasn't. A pretty compelling premise is marred by poor pacing, dry writing, and horrible dialogue. The novel is 200 pages long. Fight scenes are drawn out by dull descriptions, intercut with awful banter. Every scene not involving Dante and his friends having a bit of fun sure does fall flat. I read it, so you don't have to. You're welcome. This book serves as a bridge between Devil May Cry and Devil May Cry 2, which is a red flag already. The Devil May Cry 2 novel starts off with a woman who carries around a giant anti-material rifle to hunt demons with. A strong female character with short red hair named Beryl. I wonder, what could have inspired that? Beryl phones Devil May Cry and has Dante come up to assist her with Enzo in tow, and in the ensuing chaos, Dante picks a fight with a militia of demons who also have a helicopter that has napalm bombs. Dante fights the helicopter because it wouldn't be something Devil May Cry 2 related without that. Beryl, Dante, and Enzo have a chat, and she informs the two men that she is after an ancient demon artifact called Beast Heads. Beast Heads was lost in the war 2,000 years ago. It's a pendant shaped like an animal with 3 heads, not to be confused with Cerberus. She's hired Dante as a distraction and sternly warns them not to go after Beast Heads because it's her life's goal to find it. As a child, she was wounded by Beast Heads after her father used it as an attempt to resurrect his dead wife. Instead, he transformed into a demon and tried to fly off with Beryl, but he was shot down, and the artifact sliced through her neck, leaving a ghastly wound. The injury gave her the power to sense the item's presence. However, their parting is brief, and the two are reunited after Beastheads falls into the hand of a mafioso thug who has been exploiting its power to win at gambling. Beryl reveals she knows of Dante's father, and intrigued by the mystery surrounding her and the demon artifact, Dante decides to help her reclaim the item from the gangster. After an extended chase, the pair fight an enlarged Beastheads. Dante decapitates 2 of its heads, but the final one swallows Dante and Beryl whole, and they wake up in an alternate dimension for some reason. They fight a parallel dimension Mundus in a world where he won the demon war, an army of Trish clones, whatever. They get transported back to their own dimension. They go after the mob boss, who is also responsible for the demon militia earlier, and then they kill him. Beryl gives Dante her rifle, and they say their farewells. The end of the novel has Dante at a museum, leading directly into Devil May Cry 2. I read 200 pages of what essentially amounts to filler. God, at least the previous novel was interesting. Come on, someone save me from this hell. Mercifully, the Devil May Cry 3 manga is a lot better than that last book. As it's a more visual medium, it's already more interesting, even if the quality of the writing doesn't really go up. Dante listens to his own theme music and drinks pizza sauce in the first chapter, though, so I think it's smooth sailing from here. Anyway, the manga starts off with Enzo paying Dante a visit at his newly bought offices before Devil May Cry 3, which reframes the entire first novel as taking place before Devil May Cry 3 instead of 1, which means, yeah, that entire plot with Virgil is basically rendered non-canon and impossible, which is fine by me. It makes Devil May Cry 1's Virgil reveal make very little sense when the exact same thing happened to Dante earlier. And also, Dante says the F word during that part, and that's not okay. The stuff that happened with Nell still happened due to Dante possessing ebony and ivory, but it had to have happened with Dante being much younger than he appeared to be there. So yeah, the entire first novel is non-canon, but the ideas from it about Nell Goldstein and Tony Redgrave are still pretty much canon. Okay, back to the manga. Dante is hired to find a girl named Alice, whom he immediately jumps to thinking about Alice in Wonderland for some reason. Meanwhile, Virgil enters town and slaughters a whole load of people. What a dick. Dante gets pestered by Arkham, discovers some stuff about Lady's family, and then finds Alice. A giant stuffed rabbit comes, and then it's tea time? Dante gets transported to the literal Alice in Wonderland world, and some wild stuff goes down, and it generally doesn't make a lot of sense. Then he leaves without rescuing Alice because she's a demon, and Virgil comes in and kills the giant rabbit who was a simple plush possessed by a demon. Again, he's kind of a dick. Some more stuff happens with Lady. The alliance between Arkham and Virgil is established. Virgil and Dante fight each other, and the Mad Hatter. Volume 2 sets up stuff with Lady that never gets a payoff because Volume 3 was cancelled. The manga does at least show what Virgil did the night Eva was murdered. It's easy to infer the reason he's so power-hungry, as I did before, but it's still nice to see. Okay, we're done. Alright, we're done with that. What's up next? Okay, it's the anime. For copyright reasons, I'm not going to be showing clips of the anime. We'll have to make do with still images. Please understand. Devil May Cry, the animated series, well, it's okay. In the first episode, Dante's new liaison, Morrison, introduces him to a kid named Patty Lowell. After protecting her, she becomes a source of constant banter for the rest of the series, which is fun. The show depicts some cute scenarios like Lady and Trish meeting for the first time and Dante entering a poker game where the loser keels over on the spot, which is made tense by the fact that Dante just has really bad luck. It's nothing special, but it can be a good source of entertainment at times. The English version has Dante's official voice actor say the F word in episode 7, and that's not okay. It's inexcusable. The series is largely episodic until the last 2 episodes, when it's revealed a lowly demon, Sid, has been gathering artifacts from every monster of the week in order to summon a demon named Abigail and take its power for his own. Patty is revealed to be a child of destiny, Dante gets impaled on a cross, and after an episode of action, Dante saves the day and kills Abigail. It's just another Tuesday night for the Devil May Cry crew. As said before, Morrison is white here, which obviously creates some problems now, but consider this anime a retelling of actual events that happened in the regular Devil May Cry universe, where Morrison is the correct race. There's some audio dramas. This week's fairy tale adaptation is Peter Pan. Yeah. Anyway, this leads up to Devil May Cry 4 Deadly Fortune, which is essentially a novelized adaptation of the original Devil May Cry 4 script, written by the scenario writer of Devil May Cry 3, 4, and now 5, Bingo Morihashi, including some dropped concepts. Some of those concepts, like Virgil being Nero's father, however, are 100% canon and were even included when it came time to make Devil May Cry 4 Special Edition. It was canon to begin with, but some people didn't get it, so they had to make it really obvious. Deadly Fortune itself, however, is not canon. The final piece of media we have is Devil May Cry 5 Before the Nightmare, which is a novel written again by Bingo Morihashi, detailing the events before Devil May Cry 5. It's canon, and as of now, as the novel just released on March 1st in Japan, it's only in Japanese, but a brief English summary of each chapter exists thanks to the work of dedicated fans. I'll provide a link to that down in the description. I won't go into full detail, as I don't want to spoil Devil May Cry 5, and I'm unsure of what will and won't be explained in Devil May Cry 5 itself, so you can read it yourself if you want. But in brief, it introduces the new characters, Patty from the anime is mentioned, it has stuff that confirms that, yeah, Devil May Cry 2 is still canon, and it recontextualizes that first novel. I was right on the money with saying that everything that did happen, happened just earlier, and yes, without the Virgil stuff. In this new canon, the true canon, the real canon, the canon of the games, Mundus sent his minions to attack Dante instead, and that's how Nell and all of his friends died. So, with all that covered, let's take it from the top one more time. The full Devil May Cry timeline. First, of course, comes Sparta and everything with him. He defeats the armies of the underworld, and Mundus seals the gate to the underworld in the Timma Negru, and seals another gate later in Fortuna. Then he builds a family with Eva, and has 2 twin sons named Dante and Virgil, who are half human, half demon, and he gives them his swords, and they get the amulets. Eva is slain. And then we shift our focus onto Dante with the parts of the Devil May Cry novel not involving Virgil. Sometime in between those events, Virgil visits Fortuna and conceives a child with a prostitute, Nero, and then the Devil May Cry 3 manga happens, though its events are of little consequence. Then Devil May Cry 3, then Devil May Cry, then Devil May Cry the animated series, except Morrison is black, then the audio dramas, then the Devil May Cry 2 novel, which, again, doesn't matter, then Devil May Cry 2, which probably still doesn't matter, and now the focus shifts to Nero, Virgil's son, with Devil May Cry 4, then Devil May Cry 5 Before the Nightmare, and finally, Devil May Cry 5. Whew. that's basically everything. The last pieces of media I've yet to cover, well, these Devil May Cry 3 and 4 mobile games that are basically just, well, Devil May Cry 3 and Devil May Cry 4. The Devil May Cry comics are Western-written with little to no involvement from Capcom, and are basically just loose adaptations of the first game, so I'll just file them under Devil May Cry 1 and call it a day. So, there we have it. That should be everything you need to know to understand Devil May Cry 5. If I missed anything, please let me know. This took a long time to compile, and I'd like it to be as complete as possible, so please let me know in the comments, so when I make a new version of this video with Devil May Cry 5 stuff, I can amend it. I hope you're all ready for the crazy party coming to us. I will never be ready. I'm not ready. I won't. I will break down. I'm 100% not ready. Devil May Cry 5 is going to destroy. Thanks for watching. Special thank you to all of our Source Gaming patrons, including our super patron, the Duke of Dorks. If you like this video, please leave a like and comment. Any engagement goes a long way to helping our channel grow. I'll see you in the next video, and remember to always return to the source. I read 800 pages of Devil May Cry lore for this shit!